I think Avery Johnson's about to run wild. And I didn't wear this purple suit on purpose. It happened. But forget our dumb hats. The rain is falling. Will a streak fall as well? Kansas looking to make history and break a 16-year curse. Leipold has heard enough. He is ready to take the Wildcats and send them back to Manhattan. Kansas looking to do what hasn't been done in nearly 2 decades and change the trajectory of Kansas football. You think this doesn't matter? They're out there in the rain. They got ponchos on. Forget your little comfortabilities. They are out here to make you uncomfortable. And we are here to watch Kansas State in the Sunflower Showdown. Coming on the other side, J.B. Long, Mike Golick Jr. and Coy Wire, but right now, the energy that is college football.
All right, here we go in Lawrence. 54 degrees and a steady drizzle. These are the conditions in which the Jayhawks hope their drought will end, but the Wildcats arrive playing their best football of the season. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Big 12 football on TNT Sports, presented by Modelo. K-State and Kansas for the 123rd time. And welcome inside the booth with Mike Golick Jr. I am J.B. Long. What an honor to be here for this great rivalry.
Incredible. The 123rd installment of this battle in a rivalry game. In modern college football, all the movement, all the change, this sacred in-state, that familiarity can breed a lot of animosity over 123 meetings. And you see Kansas leading the series all time, but we know Kansas State, as of late, has owned this rivalry. But in recent years, J.B., Kansas inching closer and closer to that ultimate prize.
All right, welcome in. Here we go. It's a Friday. There is no real football game tomorrow. So what are we doing? Well, KSO Classic. It's back. It's an instant classic today because we don't have anything else to do. We considered doing this last week even, so I don't want people thinking, oh, they lost. We had to, go to something different. No, this was considered for last week. We just didn't have time to get to it with everything else going on. Things have slowed down a little bit. There's time to get to it. I think it's a fun and interesting way to look back at it. Some of you are going to love this and enjoy this. Some of you are going to hate it and, be, a little wet pants about it and just be like, oh, what are you doing this game so soon for? And it's not that big. Look, it's very fun. And if you downplay the meaning of this streak, no matter what side you're on, you're a loser and you don't understand college sports. So we're going to go through and relive the 2025 game against KU like we would any other KSO Classic game, because we said it yesterday. We've said it in the immediate aftermath. This is one of those games that 20 years down the line, you are going to want to go back and show highlights to your kids or just watch it yourself because there's great memories there of this game because of everything that played into it.
20 years from now, when the streak's at 37, you're going to look back.
Yeah, your kid's going to be like, what did football look like 20 years ago? And it's like, well, they used to actually hit people, not tear flags off.
You're going to look back and think, wow, going into year 17, it was pretty nerve-wracking at first. I mean, this was the first time, and I guess we can just immediately dive in. This is the first time in our real lifetimes that it felt like there was a possibility of a loss to KU. 2018 was the other one that we kept going back to and discussing and the lead up for it. But David Beatty was already fired. He was still coaching the game, which was a little bit bizarre. You knew that with Bill on the sidelines,
and even though that team was bad, I didn't I was on the radio at the time, but I didn't go into that going, oh, K-State could lose this game. That still wasn't in my head because KU was that bad.
Yes.
And so that was in a hindsight thing where you go, yeah, of course, crappy K-State team, crappy KU team, they played each other tight, but that wasn't on the radar there. And then it was just a gross game. This was on the radar that it could happen. And then it played out like one of those traditional K-State KU games that has been played for 13 of the 17 games of this win streak.
Yeah. I mean, that does really play a part into it. And 2018, you also never really felt like that because it was still a home game for K-State. And like I said, like with Bill Snyder on the other sidelines, like even with how bad they were, you knew that he was going to try his damnedest to keep the streak alive and keep it going. So it never really felt like it was a question because of how bad KU was. And even though K-State was bad in 2018, like KU was like historically bad in that stretch. This was like the culmination of it felt like the last 2 years really kind of coming together right in the lead up to this game of like, you know, K-State's kind of sliding a little bit, playing their best football of late, but, you know, still having one of the worst seasons in a little bit. KU is at least okay. Like there's a chance that it falls. And then to see it play out the way that it did, it was one of the more satisfying wins, I think, of the entire streak.
No, I absolutely think that it was. And that's where you look at like 2019 is in that realm where it's like that was a very satisfying win because that was KU people thinking with Les Miles, well, this thing's on the right track right now. They just come off that win against Texas Tech. So it felt like, oh, could actually get this one. And so like, I mean, I remember showing up to that one in Lawrence. It was my first game in Lawrence as media covering it. And, you know, there the whole day, Power Cat game day, and then going to the game. And you're just waiting for that thing to kick off. And you're like, oh my goodness, like there's this energy around it. And then it's like, oh, nope, same old, K-State just dominating. And, you know, I remember chilling in the back of the end zone, waiting while Les Miles uses all of his timeouts to trying to get one of his sons in the end zone and just like sitting there and staring at the scoreboard and going, yep, this feels right. Like this is how it's supposed to be. And then 2021, same type of deal. Like you just show up and it's, you know, it's Lance Leipold's first game, but you weren't really threatened there. 23 was certainly different, and 25 going up there was a different feeling. And it's not, you know, some of it has to do with KU, but a lot of it just has to do with how K-State has played in 2025. And you put yourself in a position where like K-State should be the favorite in this game until they lose it. But that's how bad K-State was this year, that they went into this game as the underdog. And so like, and it was warranted. So, I mean, I said it all week in the buildup. I never picked KU to win the game, but if it was team A versus team B and there wasn't all this history and like the significance to the game, I probably would have picked team B, which would be KU in this scenario. But that's not what it is. Football is this team versus that team, not analytically team one versus analytically team two. And we saw the human side of it take over. And it's that K-State has the right recipe for this rivalry right now. And it's continued from Snyder to Kleiman, and it's continued from, you know, Kaufman to Klein to Waters to Hubner to, you know, Jesse Ertz did it. Like Alex Delton, the hero, my guy, shout out. And now Avery Johnson, like all of these guys keep it going. And I think the really fun thing about this too is the last two games in Lawrence you have had, and Skylar Thompson had a really awesome game in 2019 against KU and Lawrence. But like the last two, Will Howard and Avery Johnson, both I think have had like pretty signature moments in their K-State careers. Like obviously Will has the whole Big 12 title season, and that's not going to be like superseded by this, but him keeping the ball and running into the end zone and doing his little point and saying, this is my house type of thing. Like the emotion and just like, that was meaningful to him. And then you saw in this game, I think it's the most emotional performance that we saw from Avery Johnson in his K-State career. And it's good and fun for fans to see that it matters that much to the players, especially a player like Avery Johnson. Like I was talking about the other night, I was watching the Field of 68 After Dark show, and Tyler Hansbrough was one of the guys on there. And you could just tell by the way that Hansbrough still talks about North Carolina that like, oh, that one of the best players in that school's history, he is just as invested and cares about it just as much as any Carolina fan would be. And that's cool to see for people and your fans and your alums that, oh, we've been able to make this place special enough to you that this type of thing matters in a certain way to you. And I think we saw that with how Avery Johnson played in this game.
Yeah, I think that you're exactly right. This was the most emotion that we've seen out of Avery Johnson. It was the most that we kind of just saw, period, throughout this whole 2025 season. Like you could tell how much of this game really, really mattered to K-State and kind of how much it mattered to KU, because I think that's kind of where it all started to spiral. Is I think that the pressure might have got to Jalen Daniels a little bit.
Well, and that goes back. We did 09 KU as a KSO Classic this summer, and we had the conversation there watching Todd Reesing's performance in that game, and we said, could you imagine if a K-State quarterback, let alone like one of the most significant and best players in your program's history, had a game like that against Kansas? And we were like, no, like if Avery Johnson played that game or whoever, like it would get nasty. And there's really no coming back from it unless you do something special. Like that is kind of what was at stake in this game for Avery Johnson, for Jace Brown, some of these guys that like the talent is there, the expectations were there, but the season has not had the success that you wanted with it.
I mean, they won going away, and there was still a lot of hate and just kind of pointing out how bad Austin Romaine played. And the game was never really in question. And there was still a lot of discourse after the game about how poorly Austin Romaine played for K-State. So like it does get a little bit nasty if you're one of the best players and you don't have a good game in this rivalry.
Yeah. So I just thought like, and then we see, and we'll talk about it, how things ended up working out for Avery Johnson in this game. But that's what makes the performance so significant and takes it to another level. Uniform matchup grade from this one, Drew. What do you give it?
Like a 5. I can't get behind the new KU uniforms. I really like their light blue when they incorporate it, but this one, yeah, and this specific uniform they had, not great.
So I gave this one a 10 versus a 3.6 because you know me, I think K-State's white uniforms are the best that they have out there. And I like the fact that KU actually wore like colors indicative of their school. I think when you play in these big games, especially rivalries, you want it to be identifiable and like a classic type of look. Like I don't want K-State ever rolling out the all whites against KU or anything white, whatever. Like I want it to be a traditional look, just like it's not a rivalry, but the stage that they're on. I hate that Texas Tech is wearing the all white Patrick Mahomes gladiator uniforms this weekend against BYU. You should be wearing your black, red, black look at home, like a classic look. And it's like, that is Texas Tech right there. I get you're trying to be cool. You're trying to incorporate the Mahomes thing. But like, I think when you have these stages, you want to be identifiable and have a classic look that people are going to look at now and then beyond and go, yeah, I'm glad we did that. Like too many times during this rivalry and this streak, KU has worn uniforms that you just go, what the heck were they thinking with what they put on? And
it's also why like the Holy War is cool, because I like seeing both teams wear their home uniforms.
Yeah. USC, UCLA, they do that too. Mm-hmm. You couldn't do it with K-State KU because purple and blue would not look great out there. But like, I think you need to have
something identifiable.
But I appreciate them doing that. The only problem is you can't do blue, red or red, blue. Cause last week against Oklahoma State, they tried the red, blue look and that's not a good look either. So like blue and red is a pretty common color scheme that goes together, but it's like, it has to be as like a true accent. You can't do like the stark contrast because it doesn't look very good. And I didn't think it looked very good in this matchup.
No, I'm with you. It's a 10 or it's a 5 for me because the K-State uniform was a 10 and then the KU uniform was a 0.
Yes. All right. Well, let's get into it. Let's start talking about this game. K-State ends up getting the ball first. You're thinking, okay, Mason Voth was talking all week how important it was to get Bryce Norenberg back. It could be a weapon. It could give you that leg up on special teams, but we also know that it can be a little nerve-wracking having Bryce Norenberg as your kick returner. He had already fumbled once this year, can be a little loose with the ball, some questions, a little wet surface, and this is what happened to start the game.
Norenberg gets a chance. Fumbles! A takeaway on the opening kick.
All right, so not ideal. And this is what I told people in the moment, that I actually think from a, take the working cap off, put the fan cap on, the alumni cap. That's more important than anything. The fumble there and KU's recovery almost like took all the pressure or nerves out of it just as an observer for me in a weird way, because it just immediately you go, all right, I'm resigned to this happening today. Like, yep, yeah, you're screwed, whatever. Just bring it on. I'm ready. I'm ready for 60 minutes of this crap.
I think that I posted as soon as it happened, like, yeah, that sounds about right for how the season has gone, to fumble the opening kickoff after, your other main rivalry game, Iowa State and Ireland. You muff the punt after you force a 3 and out. But I think that I texted to other people, are you, insert the word here, kidding me? Like, yes. It was something that, like, this can't be happening. But then smart person Mason Voth said that he felt really good about the game after how hard it was for KU to score on that next drive.
Did I say that?
Yes.
I may have. Yeah. Because, it wasn't just like, because there's a world where K-State does that the first 3 games of the year, or first 3 games back in the United States. Like, the opponent scoring a touchdown instantly after that. Like, there's not much resistance, or it's just a roll over and die. But K-State did put up a fight. Real quick, just to set the tone, I want to give all angles to this. You're getting a K-State perspective here. During these highlights, you're also hearing the TNT, the national broadcast. Let's get into the mind of what the Kansas side of things were thinking after the opening kickoff of the game.
End over end kick, angling toward the left side. It's a short kickoff, and Norberg to bring it out from the 2-yard line. Upended, ball comes out. KU's got it. It's a fumble on the opening play. 4 seconds in, and here comes Kansas. Jalen Dye popped him, and the ball springs free. K-State wanted a wet track. KU wants the football.
Yeah. All right, so thank you to the KU radio network right there. I just wanted to put that in there because it is like there was legitimate irony in that statement, and like that's one of those that comes back to kind of bite you. Is earlier in the week the comment had come out of the K-State camp that kind of want it to be wet and like that, and it cost you early, and that's because ultimately after some fight and really up until the very end, K-State trying to make it interesting, Jalen Daniels was able to punch in the first score of the game with a nice run. Yes, I know. This is like Nebraska's touchdown in 2003 that we talked about.
Middle of the field, 3rd down in the red zone. The QB pulls out on the edge and into the end zone.
Nothing after that'll matter. Great job, Jalen Daniels, putting his foot in the ground, getting to the end zone here. And then we see that ball, that down-the-line angle is going to be really important because you see it coming loose. And they already expedited that review, the ruling on the field.
So, really close there. Drew, was it a fumble?
Well, I think it might have been. It was definitely a lot closer than I think that most would have anticipated seeing it live. Like live, I just thought it was a touchdown and was moving on. That's where TNT did a lot of great things in the pre-game. How do you not have an angle there that shows if he was in or not? Because it was close, and our friend Scott Wildcat was all over this, that even on the rewatch, everybody but the white hat was going to call it a fumble. And the white hat overrules everybody and says that it's a touchdown. if that gets called a fumble on the field, I can almost say with 100% certainty that it stays.
Yeah, that's no doubt about it. That's one of those that you go, okay, if it's not whatever the call on the field is, it's probably standing. Yeah, you just didn't have the angle. I'm a little surprised that they weren't able to sync up some of the other angles, though, but I guess they couldn't ever say with clarity, like, hey, we know where the ball is at this point if it's crossed the plane. But yeah, that's tough. You think, oh, okay, you almost kind of had a little bit of life, couldn't get it back, whatever. But K-State goes on a long drive, and they are able to answer with a couple of key plays, including Lincoln Cure making a nice first down grab that is then almost fully negated by Ralph Ortiz getting a 15-yard penalty on the sideline. Yeah, I thought it was a pretty weak call too. So K-State gets to keep the first down, but they have to move back 15 yards. So they actually netted -4 yards on the play, but they get 1st and 10. They continue the drive, and it is anchored by a big completion to Jace Brown, which it would not be the first time or the last time that would happen in this game. And he was also supposed to have a big hook up on the first play that K-State ran, but KU had to commit a penalty, which interesting that they went holding 10 yards on the penalty as opposed to pass interference. But Jace Brown, you could tell early on this was going to be a good game for him, and Avery Johnson, pretty indicative of how his passing would be throughout this game.
Gets a 4-man rush, well protected. He's going vertical, and that's caught. Jace Brown to the 5. The vertical threat for the Cats strikes early with 34 through the air. This drive has covered 80 yards in 6 plays. Oakley, the motion man, settles on the right side. Sprint out. Avery Johnson calls his own number, and a chance to tie it with an extra point. 423rd Sunflower Showdown.
Great blocking from Joe Jackson. Great.
All right, so there you go, 7-7, just like that. No concerns, not a worry in the world. Things are back to the way that they should be. We'll see what the defense looks like, because once K-State answered, then you absolutely do feel better about the way K-State started the game on defense. Like, they put up the fight, and now you think, okay, here we go. Like, go get a stop, and let's get after this thing.
No, I 100% agree with you in that how they looked on that first drive, I think really set the tone for the rest of the game, because that was the best first drive to start a game of K-State's entire season, and it still is 9 games in. So to see how easy it was, and I'm glad that you pointed out that first play, because there is a world out there where if the KU corner doesn't get caught, doesn't hold because he knows he's already beat, that K-State responds to that KU opening drive on that after the fumble on the opening kickoff and goes 75 yards in one play. Like, I mean, that was entirely possible.
Yeah.
And then that from there on, it was like that. This is going to be how the game is going to go offensively, because if there weren't mistakes that like K-State was making on them by themselves, they weren't getting stopped for a lot of the game.
No. So K-State comes out. They do get the stop. You think, all right, you're going to get the ball back, decent field position because of where KU's having to punt from. And then the KU special teams error happened, like it has happened year after year after year after year.
Finn Lappin, the Big 12's leader in punt average, with a miscue. It's scooped. It's scored. What a redemption moment for Ralph Ortiz. A low snap. The Cats pounce, and they capture the lead.
All right, so K-State, just like that, 14-7. And so, like, that was significant because you didn't have to work to get to the 14. And that was truly, you thought that drive by K-State, okay, that gives them some momentum back. Like, it's evened out. Maybe they've taken it. That was the full swing. And it's like that play right there. That's what won K-State this game. Like, K-State was, I think, going to be the better team regardless on that Saturday. But that made it just a coast the rest of the way, because it had to have gotten KU so mentally screwed up when that happened.
A lot of funny things on that play. Number one, just how it worked out. But number two, like, Mikey Bergeron is trying to dive on the ball but missed it. and that led the ball going right into Ralph Ortiz's hands. And he was one of like 2 players that wasn't already on the ground, so made it an easy touchdown.
I mean, of course, Mikey Bergeron couldn't grab the ball on special teams.
And then you pointed out that the penalty before on Ralph Ortiz, when he started spinning the ball, I was like, holy crap, Ralph Ortiz is going to be ejected 6 minutes into the game.
That would have been hilarious if they had done that. The officials, I think college football refs have gotten way more lenient on not penalizing some celebrations than college basketball refs, because now it's basically full blown like the NFL. Like, they're letting you do your dance, they're letting you get away with some ball spins and tosses and everything.
He spun the ball, and after he got called for a questionable unsportsmanlike before, I was like, holy crap, we just saw the last of Ralph Ortiz.
Yeah, well, RIP Ralph Ortiz. Didn't need him the rest of the game because K-State would get things done on defense, and it was only a matter of time before Jalen Daniels had his first turnover of the game, and it came on the following drive.
High shot returns to the game at the tailback. Blitz coming. Daniels fumbles. A 4th down takeaway for Kansas State.
So the first turnover of the game for Jalen Daniels comes on a 4th and 3. Malcolm Alcorn Crowder, fantastic game. And I'll give you this. I won't play the highlight or the sound, but the KU radio broadcast in that moment immediately starts asking, they're like, not consequential that he fumbled there because he was going to get sacked anyways, and it was 4th down, but you don't like what that probably does for his confidence. And so you are like, just all these things are starting to swing K-State's way. And that's the KU mindset here, is that, oh, he's not. And I think, is it that right after then when you got the video of him doing like the breathing exercises on the sideline?
I think that might have been later, but
okay.
You also got to respect, though, those 3 KU offensive linemen did not want that to be a Jalen Daniels lost fumble. Like, it was 4th down, and they're like fighting over the ball with Malcolm Alcorn Crowder. Like, it wasn't 4th and 3 already.
Well, hey, that's how it goes. So K-State goes out, gets the big sack. We are still in the first quarter, by the way. There were remarks in the press box by numerous people like, oh my gosh, this game is taking forever. And here is Avery Johnson delivering once again.
Seconds of an adventurous first quarter. K-State looking to add to its lead all day to wing one. End zone on the money for 6. Tibbs with a 27-yard touchdown.
To the touchdown play, I want you to watch Garrett Oakley going up to the second level. He's going to buy up that safety. All the attention that Oakley's drawn lately.
Is that the best throw of Avery Johnson's career?
No, I still think the Colorado one is better, but it's close. It's up there.
Okay, because that I put that like that's in the realm of like the back shoulder to Keegan Johnson in Houston last year, where it goes, oh, that's what you want to see more of, like see that continue coming along. In terms of obviously significance and it's deeper and everything, I think the Colorado one is fair, but I think in terms of like the execution, we haven't seen a lot of balls like that from Avery Johnson, especially like that was a little more congestion than what we've typically seen. So I think that is one of the better, if not the best, that he's made. Now he'll have another really good one we'll show in a little bit. So that made it 21-7 and 4 seconds left in the first quarter.
I'm also going to pound the table again, and I've said this numerous times throughout this entire year. Jaron Tibbs has been awesome. The stats don't fully show how great he has been, but if K-State makes it to a bowl game, Tibbs and Jace Brown are going to be the first 2 K-State receivers to go for 600 yards in the same season since 2014. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, and we've been talking about that, in the offseason leading up to it. So not a lot happened in the second quarter, mainly because KU had the ball for 1,000 minutes in that quarter. And K-State had a couple chances to get him off the field. They didn't. So they punched in what felt like a significant score to in the first half. Going into halftime, they were going to get the ball first. You're thinking, Chris Kleiman, big middle eight guy, but doesn't always come through in them. Defense comes out, gets a stop. KU gets a stop. It's all going well for both sides defensively, and K-State decides they're going to make it go a little bit better because Daniel Cobb steps up. Mr. Johnny on the spot has had a couple of big picks in his career at K-State in the Rate Bowl last year, and then against Baylor earlier this season had a key one. He gets another big one for K-State and moves the ball into KU's territory.
Out the Cats to run. He does zip one into trouble. Tip drill taken away. Daniel Cobbs with an interception.
So K-State gets the ball back. That sets things up, and you will now see the next completion to Jace Brown on the day, which set up Devon Rice for a touchdown.
Targets out to the right as well. Johnson looking to that tight end side. Flips it to the end zone. Caught! First and goal.
He was going tight end all the way.
Now the plunge from Rice. And it's back to a 2-touchdown lead for the visitors.
So K-State goes up 2 scores there now, and another really nice throw by Avery Johnson. Bought himself some time and stepped up and made a good toss.
I think that throw to Jace Brown was better than the one to Jerron Tibbs for the touchdown.
Oh, interesting.
Because that was like him being a complete quarterback and rolling out, having the threat of the run, suck up the defenders. And, I mean, that was like an inch from being a touchdown. I mean, that was as good as it gets, I think, for both of those two guys. And, I mean, Jace Brown was awesome in this game. Well, we'll get into that later on.
Yeah, he had a really, really good game. So K-State now up by 2 scores again. That felt big. That's where you start to get into that territory of thinking, okay, this might be under control now for K-State. So K-State scores there. KU then embarks on another really long drive offensively. Their touchdown drive before the half ended was 18 plays over 8.5 minutes. Then they go 12 plays to settle for a field goal, which in the moment, immediately I'm going, what? Like, you're getting late in the third quarter. This means you're going to need 2 more scores. I don't really understand what the logic was there. And, in the 5-6 minutes that it was settling for the field goal and then commercial break and then coming back out for K-State, I'm having conversations with all these different people about it. And the sentiment is the same. You're going, what? Why are you doing this? And it felt like in that moment, Lance Leipold lost the game for KU.
No, it definitely felt like it because, I mean, what's so bad about you go for it? I think it was still going to be like 4th and 7, 4th and 8, but like the field goal doesn't do you any good. Even if you missed the field goal, like you're still down 2 scores. Even if you miss the field goal, make the field goal, or don't get it on 4th down. Like it was pretty clear that you needed touchdowns to win the game. And then the absolute dagger that happens on that first play of the next drive really highlighted how dumb of a decision it was.
Yeah, that was like, you can make poor decisions in life, but the results of those poor decisions aren't known until like at least a little bit later on. So you can go through it a little bit and be like, maybe it was the right call or it wasn't that bad. It was instantly bad for Lance Leipold because this is what happened, and we submit yet another really great throw from Avery Johnson and just domination by Jace Brown.
After a Jayhawk field goal, Avery Johnson with a new possession. Devon Rice's tailback. Off play action. Over the top. Full send. Jace Brown. Gone. 78 to the house. Keep an eye out to make sure there's no flags down. So far, they stay in the pocket. There have been instances around college football where this is interpreted as live ball taunting. But it goes as a score. It's 34-17.
You had a single high safety look, man-to-man coverage. You see the man turn from the corner on the outside, and he just beats him clean off the line of scrimmage. An outstanding throw by Avery Johnson. Drop it in the bucket so that he doesn't have to break stride, can maintain full speed, and get all the way to the end zone where he takes his sweet time sauntering in.
I think the important thing here, he's looking, but he's not pointing at anyone. He's not staring anyone down. But
Oh, that was near Malik Knowles and Ames situation. At least Devon Rice was right there to fall on the ball, so it was always going to be a touchdown. But
It was always going to be a touchdown, and the ball was over when he lost it. Like, it was
the only problem is how awkward that handoff, like that exchange, looked from ball being across. Like, it almost looked like it was all one motion. So it's like, oh, are they going to say it's coming out? No worries for K-State, and that is, like, that's essentially your ball game there. When that happened, you go, okay, this thing is probably happening with certainty, even though there was a whole quarter left. But that's why you don't settle for the field goal there. And I'll highlight this on that. So KU had it 1st and 10 at the K-State 31 on the series of plays right before they settle for the field goal. They go with a 1-yard run up the middle, which fine. 1st and 10, you're just trying to see if you can get something. That's all right. And then 2nd and 9, they attempt an 8-yard throw, incomplete. 3rd and 9, they attempt an 11-yard throw, incomplete. Like, I think this is like what we talked about with some of K-State's decision making this past week against Texas Tech. They had that drive where they had 1st and 10, 2nd and 10, 3rd and 10, 4th and 10. And it's like, why would you not try on 3rd and 10 to pick up some, like, a few yards, make it a little more manageable, and have a real chance of going for it? Well, KU, like, they didn't even want to go for it in this situation, and you absolutely had to have. I still can't fathom it. I don't know that there's a world where it makes sense. Now, if you're down 13 and you can make it a 10-point game right there, okay. But like, there's the added variable of, okay, yes, we're going to need another field goal, but we're also going to need a touchdown and the 2-point conversion. And so just instant karma for KU with how it worked out. Go ahead.
That Jace Brown touchdown also was the exact same play that K-State ran on the first play of the game, but to the other side.
Yeah.
It was the exact same play.
Alexander probably should have committed another penalty, because I think he was the one that committed the penalty on the first play of the game, if I recall correctly. Then he got burnt later on. KU comes back out. They move the ball 25 yards, so they get it to midfield, and K-State is able to force a turnover on downs. It included a series where KU got 1st and 10 at the K-State 50 with 14 and a half minutes left. Incomplete. K-State gets the ball. They punt, another turnover on downs, and then Avery Johnson delivers the dagger.
Sullen in the stands.
Avery on the move to the pylon, and he delivers the dagger.
Well, hey, you give mom something to smile about on one side.
State reign will continue in the Sunflower Showdown.
And so the victory sealed there with the wave to the KU fans, and K-State led 42-17 at that point. They would add one more kind of twist of the knife. Could have been another. You got a Gunnar Maldonado interception of Cole Ballard on garbage time when KU came back out onto the field. And then Jacob Knuth ripped off a 40-yard run that stopped him at the KU 8. I wish K-State would have tried to score there. I think that's good rivalry coaching, but
I thought Knuth was going to score on that 40-yard run.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been great. I mean, it was very Colin Klein-esque. 2010, number 7 backup quarterback comes in and just rips one off at the end of the game. But that ended it. K-State wins 42-17. They take down Kansas. The notes from this one: Avery Johnson, 11 of 17, 231 yards, 4 total touchdowns, no turnovers. Jace Brown, 4 for 160 and a touchdown. Tibbs, 2 for 43 and a touchdown. Both really nice pickups for Tibbs. And then Jalen Daniels has one of those quarterback games in a rivalry that you just go, how do you let that happen? 17 of 35, 129, 1 touchdown, and then 1 pick and 1 fumble.
Yeah, it was thorough domination throughout. That fourth quarter was like the only time that I was like, okay, this feels like it's in hand. Like it, because, we'd seen the loss to Baylor. We'd seen, them play well and lose the lead against North Dakota, then have to come all the way back. Like the fourth quarter was just kind of like a fun, like, oh, this is kind of like old times. So it was very nostalgic, that fourth quarter.
Yeah, that's a good feeling to sit there, watch it, and you go, this is how it's supposed to be. Everything felt right in the world. What is your best play submission from this game?
Best play for me is the dagger touchdown throw to Jace Brown. Well schemed up. Good to see that, like, everybody talks about that first 10 to 15 plays in your script. Sometimes you go back to it, go back to like one of the plays on your script. K-State does that and goes right back to the first play of the game. And it was wide open again. And even though I don't think it was taunting, I think it was Jace Brown just kind of wasting time a little bit. Right? There was part of me that did enjoy him just doing a little light job along the goal line.
Yeah, I think that has to be the one from this game, just because of like the distance of it. So it's an electric play. It's answering after that weird decision by Lance Leipold that we talked about. It is they're like, this is what inspired me to do KSO Classic for this so soon. Is that, do you remember when we discussed in the first one we did this summer, 03 Nebraska, where we went, that was the play that made you go, oh yeah, this thing's actually happening. Like it's no more, oh, we're in this, like there are nerves. No, that was K-State fans were able to immediately celebrate in that moment. And that's what was special about that play, which we'll watch one more time.
After a Jayhawk field goal, Avery Johnson with a new possession. Devon Rice's tailback. Off play action. Over the top. Full send. Jace Brown. Gone. 78 to the house.
So there you go.
You know what's hilarious? And I just realized on that play that we watched, since we just watched it again, and I for the first time was watching everybody else. I think it's Braden Lofton. It's either Braden Lofton or Garrett Oakley is also wide open in the middle of the field. Might have scored too.
Oh, well, let's play it again. Take a quick look.
After a Jayhawk field goal, Avery Johnson with a new possession. Devon Rice's tailback. Off play action. Over the top. Full send. Jace Brown. Gone. 78 to the house.
A tight end has a step there.
Yeah. Well, tight ends have had some big ones against KU in recent years. Who can forget Sammy Wheeler just finding himself wide open for days in the 2022 game. So, yeah, I think there's no doubt that has to be the best play from this game. Worst play?
I think there's a clear worst play, too.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that has to be unanimous as well.
Nuremberg gets a chance. Fumbles! A takeaway on the opening kick.
Yeah, boy, that's good for Bryce Nuremberg that K-State won this game 42-17.
That, I think, was the unanimous worst play. Second, though, like, it's clearly that kick return. And then, like, there's another tier where, like, it's that second one. And it's KU kicking the field goal to make it 28-17. And then after that, it's like probably the KU punt that ends up getting housed by Ralph Ortiz. Yeah. But like there's like a large gap between the opening kick to KU electing to kick the field goal, and then another large gap after that.
Yeah, if you want a sneaky best play in this game or significant one, I would say it's the 4th and 3 that KU tried converting that Daniels ultimately fumbled on, that K-State gets the sack. That was another moment where you just go, oh, the K-State defense is on today, and Malcolm Alcorn Crowder did it.
High shot returns to the game at the tailback. Blitz coming. Daniels fumbles!
Because that was KU trying to go and answer. So like that, they're moving it to where it could be a back and forth game at that point. But K-State's able to get the stop there. And this is where I'll jump ahead just a second. And, we do underrated player from the game. I think you have to go with kind of a group, but the K-State defensive line in this game, there were a lot of questions. You had just lost Toby Sami. You weren't going to have him. And they showed up, and everybody played well on the defensive line for K-State because Ryan Davis stepped up at some plays, Jordan Allen, Chidi Iser, like all of these guys came through on the K-State defensive line. So that's my underrated player because, on offense, it was pretty loud from the guys that stepped up and did well.
Yeah, this is where people are going to be, I don't know if annoyed is the right word, but I agree. Like, it was the defensive line. Malcolm Crowder is actually the one that I had written down, but then you convinced me to say the whole defensive line.
Yeah, they all stepped up and had their moments in this one. We're only 2 weeks removed from this game, Drew. Anything that's aged well or poorly from this result?
I don't think that anything really aged well or poorly because
Jace Brown aged poorly because he had the worst game of his career against Texas Tech.
Oh yeah, if you're gonna do that, but like we're so far, or like we're so close to the game happening, it's a little hard to say.
Yeah, I know that 20 years from now when we're talking about it, that stadium is going to age poorly.
Ooh. Shots fired. I know 20 years from now, people are going to say the streak aged well because it's still going to be going.
True. Great point. Here's an interesting one. How much of the game have you been able to rewatch from the broadcast? Because we normally grade the broadcasters, but I doubt you had to do a rewatch for this one.
I didn't have to do a rewatch for this one, but when you brought this up last week, I had some time where I was like, a rewatch of the KU.
I guess I'm also dumb. You watched the game on TV. You weren't there.
I did also watch the game on TV, but I did also rewatch this one last week because you kind of hinted out that we might do it last week and then just ran out of time. But I would rate the broadcast probably. Okay, so I have two different grades here. Well, really three. Studio show gets a 10. They get an A+. Which, by the way, hand up, I was wrong. When the studio crew came out for who was going to do TNT games before the year started, I said that I thought that this could be something that's not going to go well. But it has. Adam Lefkoe is awesome. I love how willing he is to take shots at Fox and at ESPN. And I want TNT to get more games. So the studio show gets a 10 out of 10.
And I would say this too, because here's the thing, I'm with you. This is another weird, this is how significant and great this game is for this format, but it's almost too good because I think there's hardly anything to disagree about with this one. The studio blows out of the water, and that's what makes the TNT experience for the Big 12. Lefkoe's been great. Victor Cruz is a guy that, it's unfortunate for Turner. He's going to be working at ESPN or Fox in less than 5 years, I would imagine. I think he's been that good in there.
There's a chance that if ESPN and Fox look away from what Adam Lefkoe has said, that he probably will be too.
Yeah. He's kind of the darling for Turner now that he's stuck around. He's the next Ernie Johnson.
So my next grade goes to the commentators. I thought JB Long has been really good all year long. He was really good in this game. I'm a big Mike Golick Jr. guy. They also get a 10 for me.
Oh, wow. Okay. So I thought, and some of it is how weird the plays were, the big plays in this game for JB Long. So you think about it. The Jalen Daniels touchdown maybe was a fumble. So you're kind of like, okay, K-State's first touchdown is just like a simple quarterback run from a couple yards out because the big plays on that were through the air to set it up. You didn't get scores on it. A lot going on the Ralph Ortiz punt recovery touchdown. And in those situations, you're scrambling to figure out, okay, what player is that? What just happened? And then, you go on what the next touchdown ends up being to the Tibbs, which I thought was a good call. The game's pacing may have been a little weird for some of the big plays, but I didn't feel like I quite got enough for him. So I would bump the game broadcasters down to in a 7.5 or an 8. But I am like you. I'm a Gojo guy, so I love Mike Golick Jr. I love Mike Golick Sr. Like both of those guys. You give me Golick content, I love it.
Yeah, JB Long and Mike Golick Jr., if you're watching this for whatever reason, come to Big 12 Media Days. We'll talk to you for a little bit. And then my third grade, because this is the first game that we've done that I've had like 3 different grades, because I think that one group of the broadcast was so poor that they need to be called out. Whoever the hell was doing the camera, that's a 1 out of 10.
Oh boy.
Like, we didn't have great camera angles. There was a couple plays where the camera guy or camera person was just like, it got totally faked out. Like it's game 9 TNT. We can't be getting faked out on his own read.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, there was some of that for sure in this game. All right, moving on. MVP of this game. I don't think any disagreements here. Avery Johnson.
I actually put Jace Brown.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
Because it is more of a season-long thing, and I wrote this in Players of the Game, that it's a season-long thing, but K-State, because they don't have Dylan Edwards, doesn't really have a huge play threat. And Jace Brown's big plays came at big moments. Like it came on that first drive when K-State needed it. It almost came on the first play from scrimmage when K-State needed it. He had the dagger touchdown, because as much as I love Avery, Jace Brown did a lot of the work on that touchdown.
Well, I mean, yes and no. Like,
okay, there was
once he catches it, nobody's touching him. Like what,
Yeah,
he just had to run in a straight line, Drew.
Because he beat the guy so bad off the line of scrimmage that
I mean, that play. If we had to rank guys that made that play happen, number 1, it's the Kansas corner. Number 2, I think it's Avery Johnson, and number 3, it's Jace Brown. Now you could argue, I guess, Jace Brown's speed, so then maybe you could, but like I think you talked about the deep ball against Colorado for Avery and Jace hooking up, and that one was still a little bit like Jace had to do a little bit more work on that one to haul it in. Like he did it through defensive pass interference too. That one, like Avery put that ball on the money. Like he made it for Jace Brown. So yeah, I'm part of that is tongue in cheek, but yeah, I'm surprised you didn't go with Avery Johnson. I think it has to be Avery Johnson. You're the quarterback. You've been the face of this program for 3 years now, going on the year before it, even when you weren't there yet. Like so much has been put on you. It's been a crappy season, but for this one game, like it was all right. That's how it had to. That's how it was supposed to look. He made it happen. 2 touchdowns through the air. It was one of his most precise passing games. I know it was only 11 of 17, but like he was on the money. He was executing perfectly. And then he popped in a couple scores. And again, the emotion is just what sticks out to me about this one from Avery Johnson.
No, I'm with you. Avery was awesome in this game, but also like you kind of go back and you look. We even showed it. Jace Brown was close to having 4 catches and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, no, that's what's unfortunate.
Like he got tackled at the 6-yard line, he got tackled at the half-yard line, and then scored. So like he was close to having 4 for 160. I think it would have been like 166 and 3 scores. Like that's like Tyler Lockett levels of really good receiver play at K-State.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, for posterity purposes and to make this congruent with other KSO Classics, we have to talk about notable moments from the broadcast. And I would say that like long-term down the road, the Jace Brown doing the salsa for Victor Cruz in the post-game interview is going to be one of those that we would point out. The big hats thing, like 20 years from now, the big hat craze is going to have to have died down by that point, right?
Or they're going to be even bigger.
Or they go tiny hats where instead they're doing headgear where they're putting on like the little Rydell like mini helmets that you would buy in the store that you get like the pack of Big 12 conference or whatever. Something like that's going to take place. But yes, I think those are the moments that would stick out that you go, okay, that's going to be the lasting impact. And notably enough, that's the pre and post game show, which is what we say really makes the TNT broadcast.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. Big Hats I had written down. The salsa was fantastic. It is lost in this era, but it helps that TNT has no games. That like they talked about the game for quite a bit after it was over.
And so we can't forget also the Big 12 uncovered little 30-minute show beforehand as well, which is significant.
Yeah, as I was saying, that was the last thing that I have down. Random player, I put it down as like random players, like somebody will say, who is that 20 years from now? That
Jacob
was the
Knuth.
That was the route that I went. Yeah, and I went Jacob Knuth, and then funny enough, just because he scored, I also went Ralph Ortiz.
Yeah, Ralph Ortiz could end up having like a decent career as a linebacker, but you're just going to Ralph Ortiz scored in that game. So yes, absolutely. That's a great call there. Any what ifs from this game? I mean, I think that there are a couple, like, what if Bryce Norrenberg doesn't fumble that ball? K-State probably wins the game 56-0. Like, what if a handful of, like, you talked about the one already that Jace Brown's really close to having 3 touchdowns in this game. And like, I would also say that when you're looking at this, like, I don't even think you were counting the play where he gets tripped up just on the first drive of the game for K-State.
No.
Like, he was probably gone that. So you're probably looking like this could have been a 5-catch, 4 touchdown day for Jace Brown. Like, it was already an awesome game for him. It could have been even more incredible. He would have gone over 200 yards, multiple scores. Like, to me, that's the biggest what if. Like, we already have labeled him. He is a Kansas killer. There's no doubt about it. But like, it could have gone to a whole nother level where, like, I think it's going to be an iconic type of game for him, but he was close to it being a unforgettable all-time type of game in K-State football history, not just because of it being in this rivalry, but just any game, like up there with 200-yard games that guys had against, Division II and FCS schools.
Or like when Lockett had over 200 against Oklahoma and TCU, like it would have been up there with all of those. Like, that's one of mine that I had. And then just the what if, and it's not even a Norrenberg fumble, but what if the Jalen Daniels play is called a fumble?
Yeah. I mean, that's a great point too.
How bad does it get if that's called a fumble?
Yeah, because I mean, that would have been early. We saw how KU melted down after all the other stuff went wrong. If you have a touchdown taken away from a fumble at the goal line, like, cancel the season at that point. What rating do you give this game?
A 10. This game was so fun. It was so funny too. And it might just be like living in the moment still of like, I know and remember and saw just so much of the melting down on KU boards, KU fans, just everything associated with that. And again, like, it gets a higher score too because it's one that, it's the first time in our lifetimes we really thought that KU could win. And they didn't. And it was a blowout. And those KU fans probably punching air because next year they still have to hear on College Football 26 or on College Football 27 next year that K-State won again.
Yeah, I went 9.6 for this one, just shy of a perfect score, solely because KU couldn't keep it close. So it wasn't like we didn't have like back and forth. It's just, and it's, what's the meaning of this other than it's just another Saturday between these two teams playing each other. But that's part of me being facetious. Look, this was a fun game because of everything we talked about with the build up to it. And then also, like, we did some KSO Classic games where we go, those were significant, but then you watch the gameplay and you're like, that wasn't all that fun. This was one of those games that had big play after big play in every element, offense, defense, and special teams, that makes this a truly fun rewatch and great game to look back on and watch highlights. This is not, what we did the Holiday Bowl and we were like, it actually wasn't as great as we thought it was going to be.
In a not so fun season to still have a game like this, I think it's pretty significant.
Yeah. So, all right, there you go. Any other final thoughts from this one, Drew?
I mean, it was a very fun rewatch. Shout out to Io Saba for always posting full games.
Go.
Only doing it for wins too, a real one.
Yeah.
Because he's always on it. It just brings me a lot of joy too, seeing how many people have already rewatched the KU game on YouTube. Last week it was already up. When I watched it, I think it was on like last Tuesday. It was already at like 2,000. So there's a lot of people that have really enjoyed it. My last like few final thoughts aren't even like about the game in general, but find a way to get TNT more games.
Yeah.
But only like 2. I don't want their show to get like watered down because they're doing too many games.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. The Iosaba viewing numbers on game replays. 10,000 already for the KU game, which he uploaded 11 days ago. 2.9 for the TCU game, 4.8 for the UCF game, 2 for the North Dakota game, 14 for the Cincinnati game last year, 101 for the KU game last year, 15 for the West Virginia game, 64 for the Colorado game. Makes sense. Then some other notables to put up there and make sense of. You have the 2023 game against Baylor was 22. Let's see. The 23 game against Kansas for some reason is only 9.4. Might go to people saying it's not as rewatchable or fun. Let's see. The Texas Tech game, 36,000 from 2023.
Did he upload the Big 12 championship game from 22?
He did 61,000.
Wow, that's insane that KU last year has more than that.
And then KU 22, 52,000. But like, some of these have been up for a while. Interestingly enough, for some reason, the Texas Tech game in 22 has 139,000 views. I'm kind of confounded by what would have went on in that game to just push it up there.
I mean, it was a crazy Adrian running game. The other thing that I'll say, should we tease one of the games that we're going to do this summer?
Oh yeah, go for it, because I don't even remember which one we've talked about a lot already now that we're throwing into the ring.
But one that we saw because the full game got uploaded, shout out to the Big 12 last week. We're going to do the 96 Texas Tech K-State game, first Big 12 game. Got to.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
From what I know of the game, it might be disgusting.
Yeah, it kind of feels like that won't be a fun one, but we got to do it. And we're going to have some other fun / not fun ones this summer. We have some nasty Iowa State games. 2015 Iowa State. I wanted to do. It's there now for us. We're going to get to. We'll find some other good ones this year, and obviously we exhausted some of the truly like iconic games, but there's still a handful out there. So we'll get to them this summer. We got we got a couple Big 12 championship games to still get to, Drew.
I was about to say we didn't watch either the true Big 12 championship games or 2012 Texas.
Or 2012 Oklahoma, which is really, it was like Big 12 title game being played, first conference game of the year. So we've got a lot that we can still dive into.
There was a lot that was on our list last year. Low key, one of the toughest things I think I've ever done at KSO was going through and like picking out which games we wanted to do because there were so many.
Yeah, ranking those games was not easy.
It's going to be so hard to rewatch a game that's not this past one that I'm still like living off the high of winning. That's going to beat the Copper Bowl.
So we did, Copper Bowl. Oh my gosh, please,
Copper Bowl was electric.
So we did 11 KSO Classics this summer, 10 football games, and we still have remaining out there. Let's see,
quite a bit.
Quite a bit on that list that we can get into.
And you might see more KSO Classics this year because we already ranked all the quarterbacks.
True, yeah, and we just know how the format goes for this now. So it's going to make it a little bit easier to know what to expect from this. We also know basketball will probably never be done again.
No,
just not good for this format.
We can't really rank like running backs and receivers because then it's like really getting in the nitty gritty.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's just way looking down the road. So we will be back next week. Regular schedule. K-State will take on Oklahoma State. Cats win next week. Call it now.
Yes, I hope so. Oh, Lordy. If they
Yeah.
don't. You'll also be here tomorrow.
I will
with
be
somebody.
here tomorrow.
Not me.
Might be myself. I don't know. We'll see. But vibes were high enough after the K-State win over UNCG. Initially, I didn't think, hey, Saturday night, Bellarmine, probably not doing a KSO post-game live. But we are going to be doing one. So I'll be here. Might be me by myself. Could be me with Jimmy. You know him as Fan. Could be me with DY. I don't know. We'll find somebody. We'll talk K-State basketball after tomorrow night's game where they score 100 against Bellarmine.
We will also definitely have one on Thursday because Cal is a tough team to figure out right now.
Yeah, we'll get into that. But for now, we leave you. K-State 42, KU 17. A good KSO Classic in the middle of the year. For Drew Galloway, I'm Mason Voth. Thanks for watching and listening, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow night.